back to unleashing. I been sitting on this for a couple weeks now. I ran tons of ideas through my mind and stuff, and been really having a hard time coming up with the right words to say. Been praying a lot, and I'm just really thinking about stuff. And it's not the rapture. I know that's coming, and it's speeding straight towards us, and so is the tribulation and everything else. It's something else, and I was upset, I suppose. No, I know that I was with what I saw, and the last video that I did was kind of controversial. It's a tough topic, talking about that, looking for wolves in sheep's clothing and things like that, but I didn't know that it was going to stir up so much filth that I saw, and I was kind of to the point where I don't even know if I want to make any more videos, and keep getting nudged to keep talking, but I've been struggling with it, and I gotta go over this, and this is probably going to be even more controversial than the last video, and I'm probably going to disable the comments because I don't want to hear anything really from the filth into the whole thing. It's disturbing. I'm going to have some parables, quite a few verses, and some stories in this video to get my point across, and I use this sort of things because I feel that people can picture something better if they get an idea what it looks like, and when I talk I see pictures and things, and I feel that it's easier to get across with people, so I use that kind of stuff in a lot of ways, but man. Last video, looking for wolves in sheep's clothing, I just wanted to give a few pointers, looking at different things for when you're listening to somebody speak. If it's coming from God, or if it's coming from something else, and are there intentions to pull you away from God into something dark, or to bring you closer to Him? Okay, and what I did was I gave a couple freebies on this. I told you a few people that had demonic possession. They had given themselves over to demons. In the video, these were just a couple freebies, all right? But I do this to point a couple things out and then use the example, because the way that I was showing you to do it is to look through their fruits, their works, and for you to be able to spot that, because people don't have the abilities that I have, all right? It's just that plain and simple, all right? And I have not been completely straightforward with what I can do, and there are important reasons for that as well. When I speak to you guys, I'm not just speaking to you. The forces of darkness watch this as well, and so I keep some things a little bit on the hidden side, but at the same time I want you that are aware, that have discernment, to know what I'm talking about and where things are coming from. So I try to make it as obvious as I can in a way, but to come out completely would cause, I feel, more harm than good. For one, it could cause jaws to drop, and I could start hearing things like, he does these things through Beelzebub, the same kind of accusations Jesus was getting. Or there's others that would be like, I will follow you wherever you go, missing the entire point of you're not to follow anybody, especially me. You're to look to God as the example and follow Him. And if you wanted gifts in the first place, you don't get that by following somebody, you get that by having that relationship with God, okay? So for this reason, I keep some things back, but I'm not pointing to somebody and saying, this is how I feel about them. They did this once upon a time. They're a bad person, blah, blah. No, I'm straight up telling you that person has a demon in them, okay? Because I can see it. And for that point, that reason, I call it a freebie. This one is there, but the other ones you have to search out. Because if I don't say that, you will come back to me and be like, what about this person? What about this person? Is my boyfriend cheating on me? No. That is exactly what I don't want. And so I'm steering as far away from that as humanly possible as I can. Okay. Um, this is tough stuff to talk on, and I do hit on hard subjects on sometimes, and I look at it this way. This is a real thing, and it needs to be talked about. Can we not talk about it? And there's a lot of people that don't want to. You guys know that I love talking about heaven. I love talking about the rapture, and I would love to just do that. But what that does is this creates just pure milk and honey all the time, and it attracts filth apparently, and freebies and ride-alongs, and it's not good. We have to talk on important subjects at the same time as well. Okay, so it's not always easy, but I'm gonna try and do this anyways. All right. When I put out that last video, what happened is I kicked the log, really, and I saw it in the comments, and all you that are saved and out there fighting and in the trenches and have been for a long time, just listen to me as a brother, which is good. You're butterflies and blue jays sitting on the log, and you guys are ready to go when the rapture happens. Okay. What happened was when I touched this subject on the last video, the log broke open, and I saw nothing but centipedes, filth, and disgust, and worms just crawling everywhere, all over the place, in every single direction of all kinds. All right, and I saw it in the comments section, and it was disgusting, and it really upset me. And it makes me think that what I'm doing might be a waste of time. All right, like, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going to pack up my bag. I've already got God. I'm with Him. I'll just go out and continue what I'm doing, talk to people, and be a witness in the world the way that I have before, And when He gets me out of here, He gets me out of here. And I was reminded, that it is making a difference, even if it's small. And I've seen this sort of thing before, and I have a story to tell you guys. Back in 2016, I had got my taxes back, and I bought a plane ticket to go see my sister in Florida, and she was really excited to see me, and I bought it in January, and I was going to go there. I believe it was in August or September, and the year went by and everything like that. Well, about a week out from it, I think a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks out from it, I was going to the beach there in Sandpoint where I was living at the time. And I went to the bathroom and changed out of work shorts or whatever before I went home. And I put on my swimming trunks and taken my stuff back to the truck to set it there so I could go over and swim at the beach. And I like to swim on the Russian side, because there's actually Russians there and everything, but there's no lifeguards, and I don't have to listen to somebody put a restraint on me. Don't go out too far, or don't jump off the log or anything like that. I can go out there and swim and mind my own business. And it's also a refreshing feeling, inside that on the Russian side, if maybe some punk were to do something, I can knock him out. The Russians aren't going to be speed dialing 911 and the cops, whereas on the non-Russian side, that's the world that we live in. Everybody's got the cops on speed dial, because 911 dialing, that's not fast enough. They have to do it faster than that while they're talking smack, right? Point is, I'm walking down the sidewalk on my way to the Russian side to go swimming. And as I'm walking, I try to be polite and everything all the time. And you guys know some of my past history and everything else. And as I'm walking, a guy, a girl, and a guy are walking down the sidewalk, all right? And they're walking tombstone style. That's where you're walking side by side. And, I get over on the far right side of the sidewalk so that they squeeze by, or so that they can come by. But instead of them moving together, and I see this all the time and it really bothers me, they continue to walk tombstone style all the way up to the point that I step completely off the sidewalk. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Not even trying to get out of the way, walking straight ahead, right? And I was furious. I could have stacked all three of them up so fast, it's unbelievable. And like an Oreo cookie. And, I step off the sidewalk, and I had some nice choice words to say. And the friend on the far right of them that walked by was like, ooh, to his buddy, to inspire him to turn around and do something which I was gladly waiting for, but he didn't. They just kept walking straight. And I was looking at him, you know, and I'm like looking at the world that we're in right now, and the filth and the selfishness and the vanity and everything else. And it pushed me over the edge. I went into a small rage. And as I continued to walk over to go swim, I'm like, I've had it. I've just had it. Enough is enough. Look at this filth. It's everywhere, God. I can't stand it. That's it. Toast them all right now. Light this sucker up. Let's get this show on the road, right? I'm furious. So I get in the water. I'm swimming around. The water's kind of cold, and, you know, nothing is really cooling me down at all. I'm still thinking about it, and I'm hot. I'm livid, right? And just thinking about how I can't touch anybody because then I've got freaking armed forces, National Guard, and everybody else coming after me. It's so ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Just like that guy that scratched his pinky finger, and they had freaking every cop there was after me at the same time. It was just ridiculous, you know. And then a year in court and stuff, and it really bothers me because evil is just constantly allowed to get away with whatever it wants. And I get done, dry off, and I'm only there for a short time. I'm too mad. I can't think about it. So I go back to my truck and I drive and I go to the gas station, right? And while I'm there, I get out, and this is still within like an hour's time period. I unscrew my gas cap, go to put the gas in, and I look for my wallet, and I can't find it anywhere. I don't know where it's at. So I'm looking around in the truck, digging around because I gotta pay for the gas, and I can't figure out where it is. And I'm like, oh no. Anybody who's lost their wallet, a guy, you know that feeling, the dread comes over, and they're just like, you're just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Nobody wants to go to, you start having thoughts of the DMV and all this other stuff, you know? You got your driver's license and everything else in there. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm thinking back to where it could be, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gotta be back over at the beach somewhere. And I'm thinking where it was is the last time I saw it, and it was in that bathroom at the beach. So I'm like, God, I need a miracle. I need it right now. This is intense because I'm thinking, I got my tickets, IDs, all cards, everything, even possibly my social security, I can't remember now, in my wallet. And I'm like, I won't even have enough time to get this stuff back to get my plane tickets or anything like that to go see my sister that I paid for already a year in advance and everything else. And I'm like kind of freaking out, you know. So I race back over there, right, to the beach, and I get out and I start walking and I'm talking to people on the way. Has anybody seen a wall or anything like that? No. And I go back to the bathroom where I changed in that stall, and there's nothing there. And I come out and I'm looking around and I'm just like, hey, anybody seen a wall? Blah, blah. Nobody say anything. And I talk to some kids that are playing on bicycles, some young teenagers, whatever. And I'm like, hey, have you guys seen a wallet? Man, I lost my wallet. I can't find it everywhere. Man, I'm totally screwed. I gotta have this, right? And they're like, no, but there was a guy that went in the bathroom. He asked earlier if he saw a wallet. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Somebody found it. I'm like, this is great. Do you know what they look like? So they're giving me a description and stuff like that. And I tell the kids, I'm like, guys, you know, the beach is kind of big. Maybe if we could split up, you guys could help me out and find who this guy looks like. So they're like, yeah, sure, we'll help you. So like 3 or 4 of these kids, they get on their bikes and they're looking around for this guy, and I start walking around looking, and I make my way back over to the station where the lifeguards and stuff are all at, and I'm walking back over there and everything, and you know, I'm still in panic and stuff, and I get over there and I talk to them, and those kids are looking around, and they end up joining me over there, and I talked to the lifeguard. I'm like, is there by chance anybody who's turned in a wallet or anything like that? And they're like, well, what does it look like? And I told them it's brown. I told them my name and stuff like that. And they're like, there's a guy that dropped off a wallet just a little bit ago. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And they pulled it down. I'm like, that's it. That's my wallet right there, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to get this back. And I'm like, man, I only got like $20 or whatever in there, but I'm giving it to these kids for helping me find this and everything else. I'm like so like relieved, you know. And I open it up, my cash is still in there. Whoever had found it, this guy didn't take anything out of it. And the lifeguard goes, we see this quite often, and people never get their wallets back. They're gone, They're like, count yourself blessed that you got this thing back. And not only that, I got everything back in it. There was no worry at all. I was completely honest. The guy who found it and brought it back, and I never even got to thank him. And those kids came over, and I'm like, guys, here's like $20 or whatever. I want you guys to have it, split it, but there's still some ice cream or something like that. I wish I could give you more. I really appreciate you helping me. And they're like, no, sir, no, we don't want your money. It was just great that we were able to help you. I'm like, what, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, really, I want you to have it. No. It was really great. It was an honor to help you find it, and we're just so happy you found it too. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, kids aren't usually this nice. Right? So I'm like, wow, man. And I'm just like, this is amazing. And I thanked everybody, and I walked back across, and I seen a couple people, and I'm like, hey, I got my wallet. And then right then, boom, that was it. That was the lesson that I needed, and I was reminded right on the spot by God. And this was all within an hour's time period. And he's like, that's why I don't burn them all right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. And the message was that there are still good people out there, and that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm making this channel. And even with the filth, and when I'm like, that's it, I've had enough, burn them all. There are good people out there that need to hear. They're still trying to be reached by God, by Christians, and it's not time. But I see the time dimming down, and those numbers are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're getting fewer and fewer, and time's almost up. And you look at the time when Abraham's talking about Sodom and Gomorrah, and he's like, would you save it for this many, or would you save it for this many? And numbers keep getting down smaller and smaller, and he goes and gets his brother and stuff out of there and everything like that, but the point is, the numbers are getting smaller and smaller. But that was a lesson for me that day, and I think about that sometimes, and I'm reminded of it. And I've had a few people write me in, because I didn't know if I was going to make any more videos, and they reminded me, that I do need to. And there has been some good that's come from it. So here I am, going to continue on, try to. And anyways, I just thought I'd tell you guys that story. But it's like that, really. And there's some times when I'm just like, I've had enough. Let's get the show on the road, turn on the fire. And it's coming very soon. But we're not quite there yet. And until that time, there are still good kids out there on their bicycle that are willing to help. They need to hear about Jesus. And good people that are turning in wallets, and that need to hear about Jesus, and those people, that those are the ones that we're fighting for. So we have to continue this on. So what I want to talk about is what I saw. All right, and I wasn't expecting it. The video was to spot wolves in sheep's clothing. That was it. That's what it was about. To spot really bad ones. Gave you guys a couple that were that are under demon possession, right? And then discuss different ways where people can find it. And what I saw was something completely else in the comments. Things were not even on the topic. We're saved by grace. And holier than thou attitudes, and some other stuff. And it was just coming out of everywhere. And it's truly disgusting, and I can see exactly what was going on. Those that were saying they're saved by grace, most of them are in unrepentant sin that they're enjoying it, and they don't want to have any judgment whatsoever. Okay, well, it's very obvious right there on the spot, and they came right out of the woodwork, literally right out of the log. They're the nasty worms and centipedes, okay, that are attached along on this ride. Okay, absolutely, undoubtedly, we are saved by grace, and let's look at it this way. Let's look at a metal bowl, okay, a magnetic bowl, and in the middle is a wooden cork, okay, that is you. And when you become saved, the Holy Spirit enters into you, all right, you become a magnet or a piece of metal, and you are sucked right to that side. And that side where the wall is, that is works, okay? You are not saved by them. You cannot help yourself but do them. It's naturally a part of you. You are changed. When you have given yourself over to God, completely. You are changed. All of you can admit it. There's something different about you. It wouldn't matter what anybody said. You know that you're walking with God. You're a different person. You've given up hate, discrimination. You are doing things to help save people. You cannot help yourself. It's part of your nature. It is who you are. You are not saved by them. You literally are. They've become a part of you. It just changes you instantly. And those things will be counted as value, and there's a very important reason, and I'm going to try to discuss all of that in this video if I can. And there's a lot of different things I feel like I have to discuss, because it wasn't just one thing that came on, it was different ones. All right. But you're no longer the same. So when somebody says, I am saved by grace, it's grace alone, all right? And they're using that as an excuse, let me tell you right now, you're not saved and you're not going anywhere, all right? You're in a very, very dangerous spot. And that is why this video is going to be controversial, okay? You guys have heard me say it before. The rapture and dying of old age are distinctly different, all right? And I'm still seeing it take place when I was looking for answers, and when I saw so many go up, when I was showing the vision, and that is still on track and happening exactly like it was in that vision that I was showing of, okay? So, you know, this can be very difficult to discuss, because there are people that are like, nope, saved by grace, that's all I need to do, that's good enough right there. Well, you are, and grace we have, and it's because of grace that works abound. And why the closer you are with God, you feel that weight. You don't want to have anything to do with sin. You desire to be called home, so you don't have a body that has it anymore, because we will always deal with it while we're in it. And you will be forgiven, and you can be forgiven, and having a repentive heart, is exactly what you want as a Christian. But there is something else. There are people that are just sitting there, and I got a parable of my own here. I'm going to throw it out right now, and like I said, I'm trying to make this visual so you can see here in a way. All right, picture a king on a cliff, and he's got his men with him. His closest advisors, nice. These would be the angels, all right, with God. God's the king, okay? And he's looking down over a battlefield, all right, on these plains. And it goes right up to the cliff edge and stuff like that. Along the way, there's some bushes and stuff like that, some shrubbery. And this king, God, he goes down there in the battlefield, and he picks certain people up, all right? And they are saved, and he asks them, fight for me, all right? And you will have a kingdom. When this battle is over, you will come and join me. I have a home for you. I have a place for you, all right? While you're doing this, we're keeping track of everything you do. It will be marked down, and there will be rewards for it. You understand? Now go. Give it everything you got. And some of those people will get up, and they will fight, and they will help others up along the way and be like, that king came down. He said that we can fight for him, all right? And then there are others, okay, that the king goes down and he helps up, and when nobody's looking, they dive into the bushes, okay, and they're going to wait the battle out, okay. And then there are some that stand up and they're holding their sword, and they're trembling, but everything's being watched, okay. It's all taking place, okay. Now, this is the picture, right? All right, and we're the soldiers out on the field. The king is God, and the people watching would be the angels marking it down, okay, for this parable that I'm throwing out, okay? And, an advisor says, look at that guy right there. He's swinging, he's fighting, he accidentally clipped one of his guys, or he did something there, and, but he feels bad about it. It's like, he's under grace. He's under grace. It's okay. He's fighting for me. He realized it was a mistake. He's asked for forgiveness. Continue on fighting. You're doing it. I won't even remember. Okay, that's not being marked down. And don't mark it down, because we're only marking down the good stuff here. All right. What about that guy? He hasn't really moved anywhere, and he's just trembling, kind of. Don't worry. He's still standing on the battlefield, and if anybody comes to him, he'll be a defense. What about those guys that jumped in the bushes? The ones that you helped and are hiding back there? It's like, don't worry, I see them too, okay? Those that jumped in the bushes are the same ones that came out of the comments and said, don't worry, I'm saved, or I'm saved by grace. I don't need to do anything at all. Or, don't worry about me, I'm saved, okay? You're nothing of the sort. You have no part in the battlefield. The battlefield is what you're called to. You are instantly there the same way as the cork that's turned to metal and sucked to the side. And the battlefield is your works, all right? It is your field, your message that you're giving out to spread the gospel and every other thing that there is, all right? And they see you in the bushes and you think that you're going to ride it out because at some time the king's going to call all those warriors up to his kingdom and let the battlefield burn before he makes the whole thing new, okay? And those in the bushes think they're going to hop on and be like, hey, we're here. It's not going to work that way, all right? You're going to get tied up with the bundles in the bushes and you're going to get burned or thrown into the tribulation, okay? You're not saved by works at all, but you are called to do them, and it changes you, and it is evident in your actions and who you are, all right? The same way that you can watch somebody's fruits or works that is leading people astray, the same thing with somebody who said that they asked Jesus into their heart back in their 20s, and you wouldn't be able to tell at all right? Or the same kind where a boyfriend says, yeah, I asked God into my heart so that he can get with a girl that's a Christian and shag her, okay? Or any sort of vice versa. These are not real at all. They're totally fake. Can they become real? Yeah, absolutely. They can repent. They can step out of the bushes and onto the battlefield at any time, and they can change. They can have their hearts change just like that. But a majority of them, and what I was seeing, that have tagged along like they're a part of this somehow or any sort, they're not. And you're absolute filth, all right? And it's disturbing enough that it makes me even not want to do this anymore because there's just so many of you, all right? And it constantly reminds me of why I did not see very many going up, okay? You will be left to go into the tribulation. There is an absolute distinction between you. And those that are trembling holding the sword, you would be maybe new Christians or somebody that hasn't been able to do so much, but you do care and you're still learning to get your way. Don't worry, you're counted worthy, okay? You're a part of this. You're on the battlefield because the longer you stay there, the more your courage is building, you're learning more, and you're watching those fighting in the front lines on how to do it. And you're about to grab a couple guys, and maybe you've encouraged and lift up a couple other people on the battlefield as well, okay? You're doing your part. You're not like the ones in the bushes. Now, one of the angels on the cliff says, hey, look, some of those guys in the bushes are now throwing rocks at those guys on the side. God says, don't worry, I see it. I'm marking the whole thing down, all right? The attacks on their own people, but yet they're going to pop out at the end and be like, hey, we're part of it too. No, you're not. You're going into the fire, and there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth, okay? Remember this little parable that I just thrown out because it'll be something to think about as we talk about this and we continue on, okay? We're going to go to Matthew 25, verse 14, and I'm going to do a little reading here. All right, and I think this is a very good parable. And it's exactly what Jesus is referencing, okay? So none of this stuff's void. Verse 14, Matthew 25. For the kingdom of heaven is a man traveling to a far country who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And then to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1. To every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received 5 talents went and traded with the same and made them other 5 talents, all right? He's out there fighting, all right? This is a reference to being a Christian, witnessing to people and doing works, okay? Likewise, he had received 2, also gained another 2. He's out there too. He's using with what God gave him, okay? But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money, or he went and hid in the shrubbery, okay? Getting ready to toss rocks at other Christians that are looking for the return of Jesus, when really he's baking pies back in the bushes and being a part of the world, okay, completely, and he absolutely loves it and he doesn't want to have anything to do with God's kingdom, okay? He just wants the good stuff at the end, his own religion. It's, yeah, Lord, return, just not too soon attitude, okay? After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckon with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought the other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto the 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside thee 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, deliverest thou unto me 2 talents? Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. Then he which should receive 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee, and thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. This is somebody coming out of the shrubbery, all right? And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put the money to use changers, that at my coming I should have received my own with usury. Take forth the talent from him, and give it unto him that hath 10 talents, okay? For unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance, but from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath, all right? Here's something to think about. What if what you would have had in heaven is given to somebody else as their property, all right? You don't want to mess around with this. You really don't. We're absolutely all called, okay? Absolutely all of us. For everyone that has shall be given, and him that shall have abundance, but from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant, the guy hiding in the bushes, into the outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, okay? This is a very good parable of exactly what I'm talking about. And it's about supposedly being saved, that's just Jesus into your heart, and sitting on your hands, not doing a damn thing at all, okay? There's going to be consequences for that. It is not to be taken lightly, okay? And like I say, there are different people on the battlefield that are doing different things, but are you standing on the battlefield? Okay, are you making a difference? Are you called? You feel that pull to do it. You are a changed individual, okay? You are no longer the same, all right? You have changed over, and this can go all the way from people that maybe are in the shrubs that step out, or a reference from life, those that have asked Jesus in their heart but have never taken it serious, never done anything, and are now getting the boot or the spurs to the side going, I need to step out of the shrubbery and into the light, okay? Yeah, it's going to be painful. Yeah, it's tough. It's all being marked down. It's going to be worth it. It's what we're called to. I've said before, this is the hardest test that could ever be conceived, but the reward is the most ultimate reward there ever could be, all right? To be an adopted child of the Most High. But a few verses more I want to read on this. James 2:17, all right? Even so faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone. Yea, a man may say, Thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by thy works. It's evidence, all right? It shows. It is the equivalent of saying, I'm saved, don't worry. And you'd never know that they're a Christian at all, compared to somebody who is out there doing stuff, and you see there's obviously something different about them. You can't help but be noticed and like, what makes you different? Because I'm saved. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. I'm called to do this. It's in my heart. It overflows out of me so that I literally cannot help myself. Okay? Verse 22, James 2, all right? Seest thou how faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect, all right? Verse 26, chapter 2. For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. Okay? Just more proof. This is something that isn't separated by, you're not just saved by grace. Yes, you are saved by grace. But to say I'm saved by grace and not have any sort of works whatsoever is the very proof, the spotlight on you, that you're not where you need to be at all. You're in a very dangerous spot. In fact, you're trying to ride it out, not doing anything whatsoever, and it's extremely dangerous, and you're going to find yourself in someplace that I would not want to take the chance of being, okay? Here's a good one. Luke 12:47. And that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. There are consequences for sitting on your hands and hiding in the bushes, all right? It should be very evident by that. And, I'm going to keep pointing this out. You need to spur yourself and get out of this funk, because you do not get to ride it out where everybody around you wouldn't even know that you're saved, and all of a sudden you're expecting to be raptured and go to heaven, and everything's going to be glorious, and you're going to be considered equal with the others. Not even close. Verse 48, but he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required, and to whomever men have committed much, of him will they ask more. Okay? So those that might not know, there's going to be punishment. But those that do know, you hiding in the shrubbery, that knew the truth about everything but are setting on it, there's going to be consequences you don't want to be messing with. It's very dangerous. Matthew 5, 14 through 16. You're the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, or hide in the bushes, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. All right, you're not hiding it, okay? And I know exactly what happened. You guys came out of the woodwork because you're not doing anything, all right? And there's a guiltiness that has come up over you, and you're trying to fight for saved by grace. And it's bothering you deeply enough that there were so many of you that had to leave that comment, all right? And yes, absolutely. And grace abounds. And it's because of grace that we feel called to do works out of appreciation, because he saved us from sin and absolute damnation, the direction that we'd all be heading. And we want to fight for him. We want to do these things. We're called to do it. And to not do that or have that, you're trying to take the boast of best worlds, all right? You want to sin and enjoy it and not have any guilt from it because you're saved by grace. And then when the time comes, whether it's death or the rapture, hey, I want to get called away, and I want to have all this good fun stuff too. And it's not going to work that way, okay? It just won't. All right? Matthew 13:43. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hidden in a field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for a joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath and buyeth that field, okay? Got to see what it's like going up. I've never been to heaven, but I got to see what it's like in the rapture. It's everything that I could ever imagine and more. And it's absolutely incredible in every single way. And it's worth fighting for and giving up everything for. And it's going to be worth it, all right? But there is something that does need to be talked about, all right? And that is these rewards very well might be a type of ranking system, okay? And this is something important to think about, and there's a reason why. Because I've joked before about, what we do here, it goes in eternity, and how you don't want to be known as PVT, that's Private Duffy, for all of eternity, okay? You want to come in as something important? Well, there's a reason for that, okay? Daniel 12:3. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Okay? It's not equal. Some will shine brighter, and this very well could be some type of ranking system. And we are all absolutely are saved by grace, and those that are with God, and we can count on this. So when we're feeling down, I'm not good enough. No, you're saved by grace, and that's something you can lean back on for those that are walking the path and it matters to them in the first place. Okay, so absolutely, you have that as a comfort. Okay, but when we get up there, the things that you have sacrificed, given up, when Jesus says, I can't think of the verse right now, but who hath given up, husband, wife, family, property, house, food, or anything like that, all right? I tell you that they will receive 100-fold that portion, okay? There is a reward for the sacrifice of the battlefield, because everything's being marked down. It's being watched from the cliff on the battlefield. Every deed, everything you do out of what's right, what's selfless, what's greedy and for you. No, don't give him that. He did that secretly for himself, all right? That one nobody knows about. That one was completely for you, God. Okay, mark it down. He's getting a reward for that, okay? This counts as something, okay? And you think that it doesn't matter now because heaven's going to be so awesome, but you don't want to miss out on anything, all right? What happens if a certain shining brightness is called to the throne room to have a fun discussion about something that might be done on the new earth or any sort of thing like that. But because you're coming in at too low because you didn't do anything, or you didn't, or you're not considered equal. Yeah, sure, you're in heaven, but maybe there's something that you miss out on. We don't know how this is going to work, but there is a distinction there in the shining of the brightness and the gifts, and those are wise when winning many souls. Okay, there's a distinction, and it's very important, and I want to point that out because it is worth it. All right, and it will be kind of worthy, even though we don't know what it is. You don't want to miss out on any single bit of it, and you are wise to be fighting for it in any single way. And you start one place, you start with one person, you open it up, you talk to God, and you're like, hey, open a window for me that maybe I could talk to somebody, and you keep doing it. And it's not maybe having a YouTube channel or anything like this. This was the next logical step for me. I talked to people individually in person, and I always felt pushed by God to do this. Go talk to people, Jared, you need to. And so I am, but I still do it the other way if I get a chance. I talk to people individually, and it's just as important. And but I'm always looking in one way or another to try to get through to somebody, especially those that I see that have a good heart, and might not know about Jesus, and to try and give them that hope and encouragement that they can be saved, and there is a place for them, But we're never to be sitting on our hands when we do this. We're to take it, learn it, and run with it, all right? Because we're all called to it. I can't stand the whole ordained thing when, they're like, well, you had to go to this much college, and then these guys, professors, which a lot of them are Illuminati members, and they don't even know it, and the stuff that they're passing out is only for making money. Say that you can, so you're ordained, okay? No, I have a huge problem with that. If God told me or tells you to go and talk to people, you do it. And that falls above any human on earth. And what they say is ordained or not, okay? You take it and run, and we're all called to do it. So in a way, we're all ordained by God, because every single one of us were told to preach the gospel to the four reaches of the earth, and everyone you can. And there's enough of that needs to be told here in America, because there's tons of filth here in America, all right? They go to other countries and stuff like that, and they don't realize they need it more here in America than anywhere else. It's unbelievable. Another one, Titus 3:7 through 8. That being justified by his grace, we should be made heirs according to the hope of eternal life. This is a faithful saying, and these things I will that thou affirm constantly, that they which have believed in God might be careful to maintain good works. These things are good and profitable unto men. Okay? Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. Okay? We have it. For those Christians that think, I'm not good enough, of course we're not. Because those who care and realize that sin's filthy, and we all deal with it, and we don't fully get rid of it until we're in heaven and we're changed over. All right? It's something that we can't stand, and of course the devil will try to attack and say, you're not good enough. And no, we're not. We have grace, okay? And it is this gift of this, that we can use as assurance, but it's not a free-for-all where you can be like, yep, absolute grace, time to kick up my feet. No, you're going to find yourself in the tribulation, all right? Just that fast. You don't get to kick up your feet ever, all right? It's not an easy path, nor did it ever say that it would be an easy path. It's one of the most difficult challenges there are, okay, being a Christian. Okay, here's a couple important verses. Ephesians 2, we'll start with 8. For by grace you are saved through faith, that not of yourselves, it is a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus unto good works, which God hath before ordained that we should walk in them. Okay? Absolutely. We're saved by grace. Those that are saved, it is a gift. That is our only passport to heaven. It's not because of the works that you will do or that you feel called to do. And don't ever think that because you're doing them, that is the reason why you were taken up there. We are not good enough. Jesus is. And he saved us. And through this grace we understand, okay? Not to sit on our hands. But we are also his workmanship, created to do good works, all right? Out of verse 10, all right? And that we should do, and we should walk in them. It's a part of us. It becomes a part of us. You cannot help yourself, all right? Just like the cork that becomes metal and gets sucked to the side. You cannot help yourself, but to be a part of this, and to not do it, you're a slithering snake. You've snuck your way in and wanted the best of both worlds. Like I said, you want to be saved. You told that that's what you have to do for eternal life, but you have no part in it. Imagine the apostles showing up in today's world and seeing the type of Christians we have now, from those that are fighting for it, getting killed, and the other times in history and stuff like that, to those that don't do anything. They're about making riches, and you won't even know they're Christians because they're absolute filth. And going off saying that they're saved by grace. They'd have an absolute heyday with the whole thing. And that is exactly what we've seen taking place. And it's disgusting in every single way, and it truly, truly bothers me because people are riding this train and thinking it's a free-for-all, you know. Hey, I just got to say, I believe in Jesus and I'm good to go. And no. You're not good to go, all right? You're in a very dangerous spot. And yet you might just ask Jesus in your heart and be like, okay, let's do this. I'm about to put my feet to the pavement. I don't know which direction. You're the guy on the battlefield that just picked up the sword. You might be a little bit scared at first, okay? You're on the battlefield. You will be called up. Even if it were to happen right now, okay, your heart is in the right place. It is the difference of where your heart is at, okay? You're not throwing rocks at your fellow men, that are trying to lead. And this is going to get into the next discussion that we have here about this. And I'm going to keep moving because there was lots of different points that came up, all right? More distinction of a type of ranking and rewards in heaven, okay? 1 Corinthians 3:13, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. If any man's work abide, which he had built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. Okay, if any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by the fire, as in barely making it by escaping through. Okay, there are going to be people that won't have anything to show for it. Maybe you just got saved, maybe you just got started, maybe you just trembled too much on the battlefield, but you're still there in that point. But you're not hiding in the bushes. All right. You will be saved, yes, and we have that grace. We always do. For those that are on the battlefield, okay? And there are those that are out there that are giving a lot and have sacrificed everything, and when the fire goes through there, they're going to have huge reward, okay? Things that we can't even possibly imagine, okay? There's people that have been fighting this for a very long time, okay? So it's very important to do it, all right? Especially if you have things in your mind that are important, you know, and you want to do something for God. He marks it down. Do it selflessly. And always strive for that, but there's nothing wrong with that, because that gets into something else, masteries, okay? And as Paul says, you know, they only count if they're done lawfully. There's no cheating on it, but there are masteries, okay? And that's really taking it to the next level. You're not messing around, okay? You want to go big. You don't want to show up as Private Duffy or Captain. You want to go general, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. Tell God what's in your heart and strive for it. He'll make the path. In fact, he might even know. He already knows the path for you before it was even set. He knows that a certain day at the age of 29 that you would say that you wanted this and you already knew that, and he'd already put it into plans for things that you would do to that it would be equal, because God is fair in so many ways, and he fares this out. So for a challenging life, not realizing why, only to get to that age where you have been saved and to ask for big things, the reason the challenges were and that you took that path the right way and passed those tests even prior was because that was thrown in there to be the equivalent, to make up for that, all right? Because he knows the truth, all right? There's important things on people's minds, and God knows it, all right? Keep fighting. Just keep fighting. That's what I'm saying here, okay? I'll discuss works, all right? And we're not saved by them, but we're absolutely called to do them. And those that were the nasty worms and centipedes inside the log that got kicked over a few weeks ago when I made that video, which had nothing to do with this. It had to do with spotting wolves in sheep's clothing that just purposely came into the light, all right? This is for you, okay? You're in a dangerous, dangerous spot, and you better clean it up. And it's as easy as asking for forgiveness and putting your foot to the pavement, getting out of the bushes, and making something of yourself, all right? But if you're sitting there in unrepentant sin, all right, and God will forgive you, and you will struggle, and you always will. The point is, are you fighting still? Are you always fighting? Are you asking for forgiveness when you do it, or are you just joying it in every single way and praying that he doesn't come back too soon because you like it so much, all right? He will come back, and you will find yourself left behind. It's that simple, okay? Now let's get on to something else, all right? The next topic that I saw, and this one really, really bothers me. Holier than thou attitude, okay? Know right now, anytime you see anybody in the comments or something like that, I am not associated with anybody. I am my own individual. I walk with God. He's who I look up to, okay? I have no buddy system in there. So if somebody's leaving a bunch of comments or whatever, and they do all the time or whatever, and they're acting holier than thou, or like me and them are chummy in some way, yeah, if you're a good person or whatever, I'll be happy to give you a thumbs up and talk. But if you cross that line, I have to call it out, okay? And this is why I can afford to be chummy with people or be buddies, because that's why I don't do live talk, because I don't want to shut people down, because I know exactly how people are. They come in acting like they agree, and then they bring their own agenda, and I can't stand it, okay? And holier than thou attitude is some Salem witch trial nonsense. It's the same thing that's been around for years, and what I did on the last video was I straight up gave you guys some points. I've done it before. You guys have done it before. I do it a lot. And I don't completely throw myself out there with it, because I do keep it a little bit hidden. But those that are wise and have discernment know exactly what I'm doing, and I do have a gift, all right? And those that know that have seen it in action, okay? I've said before, all right? After I got the thing, after I was told about Trump, all right? I wanted to find out where the Cyrus thing was coming from. I went back to Kim Clements. It took about 3 seconds. I saw that he was using demons to help him, okay? He was under the influence. I'm like, this guy has a demon in him. He died a couple weeks later. I did the same thing back when Tony, not Tony, but yeah, maybe it is. It's the guy that was in with working with the Pope, okay? And he was with Kenneth Copeland, and they were bringing the religions together. And I saw a demon in him. I said the same thing. 2 weeks later, he gets into a motorcycle accident and dies. All right. I've said it time and time again. All right. Rob Skiba did not have a demon. He looked like he was under partial retardation in the spirit. Okay, that's changed. His mind looks sharp now, but he's not going by himself. He has given himself over to demon possession. And I said the same thing about Steven Anderson, right, who teaches absolutely zero repentance whatsoever and teaches so much hate and stuff like that. He never had one in him before, but now he does. He gave himself over to it. It's just that simple. Okay. I've given examples that sometimes demons and things hide. This isn't stuff that people see unless you have a special gift or you've been shown at a certain individual time about it. Okay, so you do not. So what I was trying to do was show you through their character and works on what they're doing, because it manifests itself in a way that being beautiful woman on the outside but filthy on the inside, it only takes a certain amount of time before that ugliness starts to come to the outside. It just can't help itself. Whereas a woman that might not look too good on the outside, ugly duckling syndrome, but she has a good heart, will end up changing. It comes to the surface. It always does, okay? So I'm pointing to watch that thing, and I gave you guys a couple freebies. Yes, I see different things, okay? That does not mean because something they were in before, I have a problem with them or they're phony, okay? And I'm going to just throw it out right now. The whole Billy Graham thing that I've seen, okay? This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's the holier than thou attitude, okay? Billy Graham, blah, 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 Mason, did this, sacrifice probably, or whatever else, okay? I've heard all kinds of things. He's not saved, blah, 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 all right? This comes down into where the heart is and what exactly they're doing, because it becomes evident. It becomes very clear and evident, and it's absolutely obvious, okay? I have never once seen Billy Graham pointing to him being the glory. In fact, the only thing I've ever seen from him was a guilt trip of something in the past, which makes me think that the stories that he was into some stuff is absolutely true. But you do not have guilt like that, okay? And I'm telling you inside scoop here, all right? You do not have guilt like that unless you are you've got not from the Holy Spirit. It's just that simple, okay? Because a man will walk in sin and not care less, okay? But he did care. He cared about a lot of that stuff. And everything he was doing was pointing to people to turn to God, salvation, and to the Bible. Exactly what we're trying to do here. Point people to that personal relationship and through those works. You do not do that if you're working with Satan. It's that simple, because Satan just wants to pull you away. The complete opposite, all right? And it's very evident, okay? So when people start talking about that, well, this and that, and that, no. Now you're getting into the holier than thou attitude, and the very thing that I'm being accused of by saying this person has a demon in him, you're being judgmental. No, I'm straight up telling you they have a demon in you because I can see it. I can see into the spirit. Do you understand what I'm saying, okay? That's not judgmental. I'm saying watch out for those guys and be a parent of these things, and these, because of an example, are some things that you can look for that might help you. Why? Because I'm always trying to point out that if the channel goes down, we go off on our own, maybe this thing kicks off and it doesn't go the way we want to. Are you going to be sufficient walking with God yourself? You better be, or you're going to be swept away. Okay, I'm trying to train you up. If something goes down, I'm not relying on anybody. I go straight to God, so I'm already self-reliant on this situation, okay? I'm trying to create you to be that way. That's the whole point. I don't need help from anybody. I'm trying to help you, okay? That's the point that I'm getting across. And I see people do this with so many other things, okay? From different people. I've heard about Barry Scarborough as well, okay? He believes once saved, always saved, or what? What are his works doing, okay? Every single time that I watch him and hear him talk, he's talking about getting people saved, asking Jesus in their heart, follow the right path, and do that. So I don't give a crap what somebody else says, all right? I see somebody who's trying effortlessly to keep going and keep pushing to get people saved, all right? And that's evident enough right there. You're not following Barry Scarborough. No, would he tell you to follow him? You're to follow God. And if somebody along the way helps you, take that as something good and walk along. If somebody steps away from that, who maybe has been walking the whole time, but they get high-minded and start talking complete jibber-jabbers that's starting to pull away, all right, I'm not going to mention any names, then you step away from that because you were never following them to begin with, all right? Following leaders is what gets people in trouble. It is why I don't come straight forward with a lot of stuff I talk about. I keep it slightly hidden so that you have to figure it out because I do not want followers. I already have that as it is. As much as I say, don't follow me, don't follow me, don't follow me, follow God, read the Bible, do that. I still have people Facebooking me, following me, thinking, whatever happens with me or somehow that I'm holy. No! You're doing it wrong. Don't follow me. Have your own relationship. Ask questions. They're to completely diminish until you don't have to anymore. You're working your way, and the sooner you do that, the better it is. Every single person can have a gift they can ask for it, and God can bestow that to you, you know? Where's your heart in this situation? I've had people ask, I've asked and prayed so many times and you won't give me. Where is your heart in this situation? Is it for your own self-gratification? Is it to make you to be a holy one? Give that stuff up. The more you can give up, the more you can say, I have no price, which I've never seen anybody. Everybody always seems to have a price wherever I've gone. I've seen people turn on other people and sell their souls for $15 an hour, and not to realize that any minimum wage nowadays to keep up with the inflation would be $45 an hour. It's just a joke. But people sell their souls all the time, and Satan laughs. And you can have no price ever. And you have to weigh things out constantly on, is it for you or is it for God's glory, all right? And if he can see that in you, that it's for him, and you ask, he will give you the gift that you need, and you can use that, all right? It's that simple. I asked for knowledge, never for myself, and I was humble about it. Now I share it with you guys. I never asked for spiritual discernment. It was given to me without ever asking, but God decided to choose and give that to me. And wisdom is something that anybody can ask for, and I have asked for that before and prayed. And it shows in different things, and it's there too, but every single person can, okay? So when I'm pointing this stuff out, it is not to be holier than thou or to get in some clique, which is some Salem witch trial stuff where it's like, oh, look at that person, point finger, because if I'm pointing fingers, they're not pointing back at me. No, it's not like that at all. It doesn't work that way, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. I've heard the same thing with Paul Bailey and everything else. Yeah, does Paul Bailey cherish the money a little bit more than some people? Yeah, sure, but what is he trying to do? Get people saved. That is going to eventually be between him and God. Are you learning something from him? Good, then take it and use it. Are you following him? You better not be, because you shouldn't be following anybody, including me. You're to follow God, all right? And there's more and more evidence for this, all right? And here's a good one. I'm going to bring it out right now. I'm going to show you guys something, okay? Jude 1:9. Yet Michael the archangel, when he contended with the devil, dispute over the body of Moses, durst not bring against him railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuked thee. Satan wanted Moses. Why? Because the Israelites followed Moses, okay? Now, that would not matter if the Israelites were following God and like, Moses, you've changed. You seem like you have horns coming out of you, and you're talking vile things. Whatever, you're acting whack. We follow God. But Satan knows how many people are looking for followers, which is why he wanted to take over the body of dead Moses, and Michael took and buried him, all right? Because it was going to be deception, and that's the whole point. If somebody starts talking whack, including myself, and it's off, you simply step away, all right, and you follow the Bible and God, and you continue on growing and growing and witnessing and fighting the whole time, okay? And when we're called to, it's very important. But don't ever get into a holier than thou attitude where it's like they did something bad at some time, okay? And they're not saved or whatever else. What are their fruits showing? What are they doing? Is it about them? Can you see repentance in them? Do they have a sorrowful heart that they know that they're guilty? Chances are they're in the right place, and they've already done that. And who am I to judge? Because God has pushed their sin from the east to the west as far as it can be and totally forgiven them. And they're saved and they're going with him. That belongs to them, no matter what they've done. Maybe you've murdered somebody, maybe something else, and this is where grace does come in, okay? And we have it and we can rely on it, and it counts for being saved. It's very important. But it's evident. It shows in the very works and the fruits that people do, and where they're at, and you can see it. And let me make another point. So comparing Billy Graham, that maybe he had done something in the past or been involved in some things, God also, because of that, was able to use him to talk to presidents and nations and put him in positions where he could speak to the world. God knew exactly where to place him. Look at Moses. There are probably people who are like, he was once an Egyptian. We're not going to listen to him, right? After God calls him and changes him over. That's the exact same thing that we're talking about right now. It's judging somebody by something that happened or where they're from or something of the sort. And I don't like it at all. I can't stand it. That's a holier than thou attitude, and it's discrimination, and it is judgmental. It's the complete opposite of what I'm talking about here. All right, there is a difference. Now let's look at Rob Skiba. Okay, maybe nobody knows anything about that, and everything's looking great. And he's going, the Book of Enoch, it says the earth is on pillars. All right. That's the word of God. Now, it was taken out by the Catholics, blah, 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 all right? And there's a reason why, and they didn't want people to know the truth. Now, you can't deny the word of God, can you? Because then you can't be saved. So that means the earth is flat, and it's on pillars. And if you deny this, you deny the truth of God, the word of God, which is Jesus. So you can't do that now, can you? No, I sure can. I have to follow it. Exactly. Now come over to the only way that you might be saved, by believing in flat earth, okay? Now that is deception, okay? And that's the kind of stuff you have to watch out. The very works and the ideas that they're doing. And now that you know that, all right? And why I'm using it as an example, and I think it's free to use because he's given himself over to demon possession, all right? We can talk about him hanging out with Satanists, and some of the people that have written in and been like, yeah, that's absolutely true, and we realized it's a cult and we got out of it, okay? That's the whole point. That's why God told me they're under a curse. I haven't made anything up or lied to it, and if you didn't believe it at first, keep checking until you find it. It will become evident. It's showing. I'm not making this up. I'm telling you the truth. I'm trying to fast track you is what I'm doing. And, my sister told me something the other day, and I hear it all too often, that I can't save the world, and I'm always trying. And maybe that's why it bothers me so much, and I can't just shake it off. And it is true. I'm always trying to save somebody, because inside that vile filth of a worm when I kick that wall, it could be a caterpillar that needs to turn into a butterfly and get up on top with the blue jays and the birds that were there that are waiting for the rapture, okay? You could be in there, and I don't want anybody to miss out on anything like that that's this important, okay? And that's why I talk about this and why I take it so passionately. It's very serious. And, it's just one thing after another that I saw. And it just comes out. People ride along with stuff, and then something gets shaken up, and you see where their real colors are. And that's exactly what I saw, and it's disgusting, okay? Watch what people are doing, okay? Yeah, I don't always agree with things, but I also see what they're doing, okay? Alan Horvath or whatever, I think the guy does great research when it comes to biblical Hebrew, Aramaic, and the research on it, okay? Does he love God? Is he going? Absolutely, he totally does. Do I buy into where we should be saying Yeshua or Yahweh all the time and stuff like that? I know there's too many people that have been saved and demons rebuked by using the name of Jesus. That starts to get into a Jehovah Witness sort of thing where it is part of a works. No, it doesn't. And of course, associated with that, he also believes that Jesus hung on a pole, on a stake, something I'm totally against, which also goes along with Jehovah's Witnessry, which is interesting enough. But is he saved? Yeah, absolutely. I can tell. I mean, the guy he loves God. That's the important part. It's not being judgmental. So there are different little things, you might not agree with, but you're not following those people, okay? I'm using it as an example. they love God, they're saved, and they're trying to lead others. They're being an example and encouragement. And so many times we need that, because sometimes you just need to hear some encouragement. How close is this? And we're all looking, those that care, we're all looking to get out of here. So it is a fun topic, and I would love to talk about it more. But if I let something like this go, you're going to be rotten, riding in the log, thinking it's time when the Blue Jays and the butterflies get called up in the rapture, or in the battlefield, or maybe you're hiding in the shrubbery, and you're going to wonder why you were left. And so this video goes out to people, even if it doesn't make it into the tribulation, maybe a memory, because you're going to ask, why wasn't I? And this is your answer, why, okay? Because you were not in the right place when it took place, okay? And it can change in an instant, right on the spot. You just go to God right now and be like, I have not been in the right place. Please forgive me and put me in the right place. Send me in the right direction. I do not want to be left behind. And instantly you can trust in him and start heading in that direction just that fast. Just like that. You don't have to sit there. Or you can stew and be like, I'm saved by grace. How dare he tell me I have to give up marijuana? They just legalized it in Canada. Blah, 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 blah. Or any other stupid thing. All right? I'm going to sit around and do nothing and enjoy sin and not have anything to do with it and expect to be called up, because at one time in my life, I asked Jesus in my heart. You're in a very dangerous spot, okay? Don't mess around with this. Don't mess around with this at all, okay? And I feel good that I got this out. It's really been bothering me for about 3 weeks. And, all right, holier than thou attitude, bad news. I have no association with it. Don't tell me about what somebody did in the past. What are they doing now? All right, and are they different? If they are, they're good to go. And don't try to bitch at me about them, because I don't even want to hear it, all right? And if you're telling me that you're saved by grace and you don't want to do anything and you're justified in it because you enjoy sin, you want to be a part of the world and everything like that, then go right ahead. You're going to be a part of the world, but don't expect me to agree with you in any sort of way, okay? This is an important, extremely important subject, and, and we absolutely had to talk about it, and I had to get this out, and I really hope this gets through to some people, because you're playing with fire. You really are. All right. Catch you next time. Bye.